This Week in Connecticut with Dennis House starts now.
Greetings, everyone. I'm Dennis House. Straight ahead today, Connecticut's U.S. attorney is here to talk about her tenure that ended Friday as President-elect Trump prepares to pick her replacement. 3 hospitals in Connecticut in financial trouble. Attorney General William Tong on how patients will be protected. The teacher shortage and attracting more men to the profession. Kate Diaz of the CEA joins me. And former news anchor Jerry Brooks on his new venture and how you can help make a wish come true. First, the lead. Every president gets to pick a new U.S. attorney for each state, and that's why Vanessa Avery, appointed by President Biden, left her post on Friday. And joining us now is the U.S. Attorney for the state of Connecticut, Vanessa Avery. And Attorney Avery, great to see you here in the program.
Thank you for having me.
So how does it feel? It's a quick 4 years, isn't it?
It hasn't been 4 years, 2.5 years.
2.5 years. Well,
yes,
one term
me.
Is what I meant. Yes. But it goes by quickly, doesn't it?
It does. It does. You know, it's a presidential appointment, so you understand when you start on day one that it's time limited and try to make every day count. That's what I did. And 2 days remaining.
What was the highlight of your term?
Gosh, I love those questions. If I had to choose one thing, I would say probably one of the highlights would be, so I'm thinking of a number of things. The engagement we've had in the community and the impact, especially when it comes to gun violence, is one of the things that stands out.
Just this week before our taping, a gang was busted.
Absolutely.
Tell us about that. That was kind of big news.
So yes, just this morning we announced the indictment of the Hood Stars gang in Hartford, Connecticut in the North End. There were 7 individuals who were part of a RICO conspiracy, as alleged in the indictment, and responsible for murders, attempted murders, gun trafficking, drug trafficking, arson, extortion, you know, some very serious crimes that ended up affecting innocent civilians as well as other rival gang members, and were really significant.
I was stunned when I read the press release, some of the things that these guys are accused of doing. I mean, they really threatened a lot of people and scared a lot of people.
Absolutely, and for the people who live in Hartford's North End, it's terrifying to have these things happening in broad daylight in many instances, to have over 50 shell casings near a community center in Hartford. You know, these are very serious issues that we really are fortunate to have law enforcement collaborating to address, to be able to reduce the crime in Hartford, violent crime in Hartford, and 3 other major cities here in Connecticut, New Haven, Waterbury, and Bridgeport, in this short period of time has been really significant and something that I'm proud of. Not just for our office, but for all of our partners, state, federal, and local. So
as you mentioned, the president gets to pick the U.S. attorney for the state, and so you're going to be replaced by someone selected by President-elect Donald Trump. And so there might be there's going to be a difference in philosophy. How do you prepare the people who work under you for that? Because they stay behind, correct?
Sure. Yes, I am the only presidential appointee in the office. Everyone else is a career employee. And the priorities of the office don't really change that much from administration to administration. Yes, you are correct. There will be some changes in philosophy. The policies themselves will change, and there may be some different focuses, but the main places where we focus our attention within our major crimes unit, we're talking about civil rights and hate crimes, and we're talking about child exploitation cases and human trafficking. We're talking about financial fraud and public corruption, violent crimes, and drug trafficking. Those things are always going to be priorities, I think, in any administration. So there will be other things that may be added to the mix, but for the most part, the work that we do doesn't change much, or it hasn't in the past changed much from administration to administration.
Who does the U.S. Attorney report to? The Attorney General?
That is correct. The United States Attorney General through the Deputy Attorney General, and that has been a wonderful relationship. And I will say, because I think sometimes people misunderstand what that relationship is like, a lot of the policies and guidelines come out of Washington, D.C., but each individual U.S. attorney makes a lot of the calls and most of the calls on our cases, which cases we're going to charge, what charges are going to be included, which cases we are going to settle and resolve. There are very few cases that actually have to go up to the level of approval at the United States Attorney General.
Did you have any dealings with the president, or is it mostly the Attorney General?
I've had no dealings with the president at all. In fact, Attorney General Merrick Garland has been very careful to protect the integrity of our cases and investigations by making sure that we are not in communication with folks outside of the Attorney General's office, and particularly elected officials, because our decisions are not made, as you know, based on political reasons, but based on the facts and the evidence as the law is applied to them.
Do you fear that it might be different in the next administration?
You know, that's not something that I can speak to. I would hope not. I would hope that anyone who is going to be in leadership at the Justice Department will uphold the rule of law. You know, we can all, I think, only hope that whoever is appointed will understand the importance of that, not only to the integrity of the Justice Department's work, but to the integrity of our communities around the country.
What is next for Vanessa Avery?
What's next for Vanessa Avery, what I can say is I will still be in Connecticut. I still plan to be engaged in the community as often as I can, and I won't be going too far.
There are some who would suggest, maybe you should go into political life and maybe run for office. Does that appeal to you in any way, shape, or form? Or?
Not something that's on my list, but thank you for
Well, thanks for your service to our state.
Thank you.
Vanessa Avery, U.S. Attorney, great to see you here.
Great to be here. Thank you.
And Attorney General William Tong will join us when we return.